I'm Chris Hansen, right now on Crime Watch Daily from here in New York City. A divorcee finds a new love and starts a new family.
It was his life. He would hold her, brush her hair.
But on his way home from running errands, the Brooklyn father is ambushed. Shot dead on his doorstep.
Someone's in my house and I heard like loud popping noise.
She's on the phone as he's dying.
Yes, saying that she believes that the shooter is still inside the house.
Was it a botched home invasion or was he set up?
3 insurance policies, totaling
$900,000.
big money.
Big money.
Then an arrest 25 years in the making.
He's been among us. He's been in the community.
A special education teacher disappears from her second job at a gift shop, only to be found dead.
He said, "We found her." And I went, "She's dead, isn't she?"
Now, after years of intense searching and ugly allegations,
They were saying I did it. They were saying I knew who did it.
police finally believe they know who the killer is.
It was virtually impossible that this was ever going to happen. And then it did.
Right now.
Go, let's go.
Jason Matera with Crime Watch Daily.
I'm Michelle Segona from Crime Watch Daily.
This
Elizabeth Smart from Crime Watch Daily. It's Anna Garcia from Crime Watch Daily. You got anything to say?
is Crime Watch Daily.
What do you mean you don't know she's 13? You're running away now?
Welcome to Crime Watch Daily, everyone. I'm Chris Hansen. We start today right here in New York, Brooklyn to be exact, where a father is gunned down outside his home, his wife and baby girl just inside the door. But this case would take a sudden turn when investigators realize he was shot with his own gun, one he wasn't even carrying that day. When a divorcee in Brooklyn named Omar Murray met the girl next door, he took a second chance at love.
I like her.
Omar fell hard for Alicia Knoll. But 2 years later, the sacred bond to love and to cherish until death do us part would be broken in an unholy hail of bullets. And Omar would die in what NYPD homicide detectives initially believed was a botched home invasion.
Every day, I still look at the window. He was a good person. And did miss.
Despite her heartbreak, Omar's mom, Eunice, opened her home and her heart to me, sharing these family photos of her precious, fun-loving son. So this is you and Omar.
Yes, it's Omar. This is in the countryside where I come from in Jamaica.
And why did you decide to move here from Jamaica?
Oh, better life.
Omar thought he had found that better life with Alicia, but his mom was worried about their whirlwind romance.
When I found out that they were engaged, I really wasn't too pleased about it.
Eunice was concerned her son was rushing into another marriage with blinders on.
He really liked this girl. That's why I didn't even try to turn. Just wait a while and see where it goes. You know, because he was happy. And, you know, I want my children to be happy.
But the opulent wedding festivities had cooled her misgivings about her new daughter-in-law.
I thought I was the right person for him. She was kind of quiet, a little controlling, a little bossy.
Then baby daughter Omaya was born.
It was his life. He would hold her, brush her hair, give her a bath.
It seemed marriage the second time around was the charm. His family says the well-paid ironworker lavished his new bride, a home health aide, with whatever she desired.
You know, my big brother, you know, he's the type of person, like, he would give you the shirt off his back.
If she made your brother happy, that's fine.
Exactly. If he's happy, I'm happy.
What kind of a person is Alicia?
I thought she was a good person.
But Omar's happy life with his new baby and wife would come to a sudden and violent end. On a freezing day in February, he is returning home from the grocery store when out of nowhere in broad daylight, he's ambushed in the foyer of his Brooklyn, New York building. 3 rapid shots rip into Omar's chest.
How did you hear that your brother had been shot to death?
I remember it like it was yesterday. The phone rang, and it was my mother.
Alicia told us, or told me, That morning, Omar was running errands. She was inside of her home, taking care of her daughter. And as she's pacing back and forth with her daughter, she looks out the window and sees Omar pull up to the house and exit his vehicle with groceries. She sees him walking towards the front door, and 2 seconds later, she hears gunshots.
Then she hears Omar scream.
She says she hears Omar saying, "Mama, mama, mama." She calls 911.
911, where's the emergency?
Yes, I heard something in my house and I'm scared.
She's on the phone as he's dying.
Yes.
Someone's in my house and I heard like loud popping noise.
Help is on the way.
Leave me alone, I'm gonna have the baby.
And where does she say she is?
She says that she's in her bedroom.
The bedroom?
Yes, on the second floor.
With the door locked?
Yes.
I'm in the room with the baby. The gunshots went off, I think, in the house. I heard popping noises like gunshots.
In all this time, responders are having difficulty finding him as he lies dying.
Right, because she's telling the 911 operator that the shooter may be in the house.
Out of here, I'm in the house and I need somebody to get me out of here.
So what goes down after that?
Emergency service units respond, remove the door. The ambulance rushes Omar to the hospital.
Tragically, it's too late.
He dies at the hospital.
Yes.
NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce assigns homicide detective David Centeno to the case.
What did you think you had on your hands when you first caught this case?
I thought it might have been a home invasion robbery.
Centeno quickly catches a break. A street surveillance camera captures this mysterious black car crawling up to Omar's residence. The passenger gets out and walks into the building. Centeno suspects that it might be his guy.
It gives you chills down your spine because as Omar is leaving his residence, there's a black vehicle, and the black vehicle pulls over across the street.
Up next, was it a random robbery?
I had no idea at the very beginning.
But Omar's mom wasn't buying the botched burglary angle one bit.
And I said, you killed my son.
Brooklyn iron worker Omar Murray is gunned down in what appears to be a botched home invasion. But as police would soon learn, the killer was after some money, but not the money in Omar's house. This picture-perfect happy couple with a brand new baby is shattered by 3 bullets on a cold winter day. Omar Murray gunned down in broad daylight just as he gets back to his Brooklyn home from the corner store.
I thought it might have been a home invasion robbery.
But as detectives dig deeper, they discover cracks in the marriage that make them suspicious. Turns out the couple was deep in debt.
My understanding, she was buying expensive bags, going on trips. And with all that money, her house was still in the process of foreclosure proceedings.
She's the type of person that wants to be in the spotlight.
She lived a pretty big lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that big lifestyle was carrying a freight load of IOUs, car payments, a $575,000 mortgage, and shopping sprees. The lavish spending was costing them their marriage.
How bad did it get?
My mother would call me twice, once saying that my brother just left the house. It was freezing outside, barefooted with no jacket.
Cops claim Alicia even stole $100,000 from her own mother. Then detectives uncover another shocking secret. Alicia is having a torrid fling with this man, a Rite Aid drugstore worker named Damien Lavelle.
Alicia and Damien informed me that they would have sexual encounters in the home on the second floor while Omar was upstairs taking care of the daughter.
So wait a minute, Omar's upstairs taking care of the daughter?
Yes.
And Alicia and Damien are having sexual relations downstairs?
Yes.
But it's early in the investigation, and cops tread carefully. Before jumping to conclusions, they look at the evidence, starting with 3 security cameras inside the Murray apartment, Omar and Alicia's home.
We were hoping we were going to get some video footage.
And what did you get?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
No, the cameras were disconnected.
Did that make you suspicious?
Yes.
But there's more. This never-before-released street surveillance video, and the man captured right here is Alicia's secret lover, Damien Lavelle. Cops say he was on his way to pick up the murder weapon.
Did Omar have any idea that this was going on?
No.
Alicia's defense attorney, Wynton Sharp, says she may be guilty of bad behavior, but Alicia is not the mastermind behind a plot to have her husband whacked.
She makes a fatal mistake. She decides to have sex with this guy. And yes, she did decide to have it in her house. That, however, does not equal murder. Unfortunately for my client, as soon as anyone hears that, it creates an emotional, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. Everyone takes a position. She is a horrible person. You know, how could she do that?
But detectives tell me this isn't the only time Alicia tried to kill her husband.
How did this relationship come off the rails?
Alicia thought Omar was cheating on him. She attempted to poison him.
Poison him?
Yes.
And how did she attempt to do this?
She was poisoning his food.
The prosecution charged your client tried to poison her husband.
Absolutely. No, well, they didn't charge it. They just threw it out there, as
No,
they
but
did
they
in many
alleged
cases.
that.
There was an accident, and he went to the hospital. The specialist who they brought in said there was no evidence of any poison. So all they did was they put in the jury's mind that, oh, on a first occasion he tried to poison her.
Police say Alicia gave her lover in crime $3,500 and Omar's own gun to hire triggerman Kirk Portillas, a Crips gang member. In this never-before-released surveillance video, a car drives up at 12:43, and cops claim that it's Portillas getting out on the passenger side. He walks into the entrance of Omar's building. Omar pulls up at 12:56 and walks in. Shortly after that, you can see Portillas hurry out in the other direction. Alicia's attorney doesn't dispute the video, but he insists Alicia is not the mastermind behind the murder.
The person who murdered Omar in his home never met my client. Never met him. The only person who had contact and planned this over weeks is Damien Lavelle.
But what does Damien get out of it?
He gets the lifestyle. He used my client as a scapegoat.
So why would Alicia want her new husband and father of her baby dead? Cops say there may be 900,000 reasons.
3 insurance policies, totaling
$900,000.
big money.
Big money.
And Omar's brother says Alicia was going to get it all.
Fortunately, he signed his own death warrant.
And I said, you killed my son.
Right there at her son's gravesite, Omar's mom accuses Alicia of pretending to hide behind a mask of mourning.
So I said to her at the funeral, you killed my son because you agreed.
Was Alicia the weeping widow or the dry-eyed mastermind behind a murder-for-hire plot to kill her husband?
I said, any idiot will know that. This is an inside job.
Despite her defense, Alicia is now on the top of the list of suspects. Insurance companies refuse to shell out a dime. Cops haul in Damien Lavelle for questioning. He rats out his lover in return for a prison sentence of 15 years to life.
How was she when you interviewed her after the murder?
Stone cold.
Stone cold. Did that surprise you?
Yes.
Your husband gets killed, you'd think you'd be emotional.
That's what I thought.
But cops say it wasn't the attitude that did her in. It was the evidence and the other man who claimed he loved her.
What was the key to solving this case?
It was the cooperation from Mr. Lavelle, and at the time of the murder, the cell phone records that showed Alicia and Damien in constant contact with each other.
Triggerman Kirk Portillas is sentenced to life in prison. And the wife cops call the murderous mastermind is stopped in her high-heeled tracks and charged with first-degree murder.
What do you think would happen between him and Alicia?
I think they might have lived happily ever after.
It took the jury just 3 hours to convict the femme fatale, and the judge showed no mercy. Instead of pearls and champagne, it'll be handcuffs and stale sandwiches as she rots behind bars for the rest of her life.
And I'm sorry that they didn't have the death penalty.
Do you ever scratch your head sometimes as a detective and wonder, why don't people just get a divorce if they hate each other? Why do you have to kill someone?
I think Alicia only saw dollar signs. I don't think she can love. I think she could only hate.
Alicia Noel Murray continues to maintain her innocence, and her attorney says she plans on appealing the conviction. Their daughter is now living with Murray's grandfather, who makes regular visits to see his daughter in prison. Coming up, a killer walks into this gift shop snatching the woman behind the counter.
She always felt that somebody was watching her.
Who really killed Lisa Ziegert? From the small town rumors
they decided for some reason that he was the person,
to the eventual big break.
It was virtually impossible that this was ever going to happen. And then it did.
That's next. This next story is a very personal one for us here at Crime Watch Daily. One of our top investigative producers has spent just about her entire life searching for answers to one of Massachusetts' biggest unsolved murder mysteries. That's because she actually went to high school with the victim. Today, after 25 years, there's finally been a huge development.
average siblings in an average family living a happy average life in that small town that nothing ever happens in.
Until one day, it does.
It's a parent's worst nightmare.
It's a day that changes who you are forever.
And exactly what happened will destroy this tight-knit community's trust.
Maybe a friend of a friend of a friend who might have become fixated with her.
And leave them pointing fingers at one another.
Rumors about people who are close to us.
The truth won't come easily, but prosecutors are determined to unearth the evil in their midst.
We will solve this case, find the person who did this, and bring him to justice.
You're looking through the eyes of a monster, seeing exactly what he saw the night he entered this Agawam, Massachusetts gift shop with murder on his mind. But just 4 hours before he'll walk in, someone else will enter this store. Her name, Lisa Ziegert.
She was the second of our 4 children. Curly, curly brown hair, big blue eyes, and a wonderful giggle that if you heard it, you had to laugh. The smallest. She was tiny. She was only 5'2". She was not a big person, but she was big inside, where it counted.
The 24-year-old is a teacher's assistant working with special education children. It's her passion, but it doesn't pay much. So like many teachers, Lisa gets a second job.
She started working in the gift shop. She worked there a couple of nights a week.
And on this night, as Crime Watch Daily first investigated, it's an average Wednesday for Lisa working behind the counter at Brittany's gift shop.
Her shift, which would start at 5 and usually end about 9 o'clock at night.
And like clockwork, one of Lisa's regulars stops in. It's her sister, Lynn.
I went into the card store, and it was a very slow evening for her. She was talking to me about what she wanted to do with her life, how she was feeling about, being an assistant teacher.
Lynn eventually takes off and leaves her sister to finish her shift.
A few people came in and out of the store. Not anything out of the ordinary.
Shortly after Lynn leaves, another customer stops by and makes a purchase, according to a receipt time-stamped 8:20 p.m. Then, not long after that, a final customer pops in right as the store is closing.
At 9 o'clock, this customer comes to the store. The store looks like it's still open. She comes in, she looks around. Nobody's coming to assist her, which she feels is odd because the store is open.
After looking around for a few minutes,
she thinks she hears some type of a noise in the back area of the store. She does not investigate it. She then leaves the store.
The next morning, a co-worker arrives to begin her morning shift at the same gift shop. She too finds the door open, lights on, and
she notices Lisa's car is still in the parking lot.
But when this employee enters the store, right away she's unnerved by what she sees lying right next to the cash register.
She notices Lisa's pocketbook. She knows Lisa's sets of key is still there.
But eerily, Lisa is nowhere to be found. Frantic, the co-worker calls 911. At the same time, Lisa's family is flooded by worried phone calls from Lisa's school, where she was a no-show that morning.
No one is prepared for that. There's no way that you wake up in the morning or you go to bed the night before and you say, I think tomorrow is going to be a day that's going to change my life.
The Ziegert family races to the gift shop and finds it cordoned off and surrounded by police. Detectives on the scene interview Lisa's family and co-workers.
She was a very responsible young lady. This isn't somebody that just went out and didn't check in with friends or anything like that. They knew relatively quick that this is a missing person case.
A true nightmare. A true nightmare. You keep hoping that, of course, that, oh, it's just a mistake, and she went someplace and with someone.
But as investigators search the store, they make a chilling discovery.
There's evidence at the card shop, at that scene, there is evidence of a struggle.
In the back room, as seen on this actual crime scene footage, what appears to be shoe markings on a door, and
there is a small amount of blood at the scene.
Right away, investigators believe Lisa Ziegert isn't only missing, she was taken.
Everything indicated that she did not leave the store on her own accord.
But where did this abductor take the 24-year-old school teacher? Multiple law enforcement agencies joined the search for Lisa, including the Agawam Police, Massachusetts State Police, and the FBI.
I mean, everybody wanted this to end well.
Then on Easter Sunday, and 4 days after the school teacher went missing, police get a call
from a resident indicating that he went for a walk with his dog in the woods and he believes he found some human remains.
They are the remains of a young woman who has been raped and stabbed. Shortly after the grisly find, a detective from the Agawam Police Department knocks on Dee Ziegert's front door.
He said, "We found her." And I went, "She's dead, isn't she?" And he had tears in his eyes, and I don't remember. I remember kind of going to my knees. The worst day of my life.
Coming up.
There's nothing that prepares you for that type of a scenario.
Who killed Lisa Ziegert?
She always felt that somebody was watching her.
Watching her from afar, or perhaps up close and very personal.
There are rumors involving specific people. Lisa knew this offender.
And can science finally put a face on her killer? 24-year-old Massachusetts school teacher Lisa Ziegert is found raped and stabbed to death just 4 days after she was abducted. But who took Lisa and killed her has left the small New England town of Agawam shaken to its core.
It was the crime of the decade. Women being fearful, getting pistol permits, and because no one knew exactly what happened.
Cops on the case chased down every lead.
A lot, hundreds of interviews.
Then investigators get a lucky break when they're able to extract the killer's DNA from the crime scene.
We had the proverbial bloody fingerprint in this case, and we just needed to get that match.
The crux of the case is attaching an identity, that DNA, and we likely had an offender.
But detectives and even Lisa's own family take special note of the curious place where Lisa's body was discovered.
A rural area, no houses or anything like that around.
It's not a visible turnoff from the main road. In fact, it's a spot that someone would have to know in order to get there.
Always thought it was somebody who's very familiar with the area just based on where she was found.
It doesn't take long for the small town rumor mill to start spinning. And as the months pass, the talk on the streets turns into a full-fledged accusation. The finger pointing is squarely at one man.
Ed Brigatti was a friend of my sister's.
Friend or fatal foe? Ed attended high school with Lisa and even lived with Lisa's sister and boyfriend at the time she was murdered. Coincidence? Not according to the court of public opinion.
They decided for some reason that he was the person.
And there's something else. Not only were some residents claiming Ed killed Lisa, but that police were covering it up.
Because Ed's dad was a member of the police department.
But there's one huge problem with this theory. Ed has a rock-solid alibi.
I was working the restaurant that night.
In a Crime Watch Daily exclusive, Ed speaks out publicly for the first time since Lisa's murder.
I was working between my office and down on the floor, and my sister was there waitressing, so I was with my family and my friends that night, and there were plenty of witnesses to verify that.
And according to police, Ed's DNA does not match the sample taken at the crime scene.
It was never anything to hide.
Ed is one of my dearest friends. Ed had nothing to do with it.
Ed is immediately cleared by police, but with without a suspect in custody, the vicious rumors keep swirling.
They wouldn't let it go.
My thought on the whole thing was just move ahead, just keep moving forward, and not worry about what people think. And you just know it's not true, and you just continue to just live your life.
And police continue with their investigation.
We just kept on getting samples from everyone that we could, and we just always hoped that at some point we would get a DNA hit.
But they don't get a hit. In fact, months, years, and even decades go by, 23 years to be exact, and there's still no DNA match.
When it first happens, I think everyone thinks, they watch the TV shows and, CSI and things like that, and in an hour, everything's going to get wrapped up. The person's going to be arrested, and everybody's going to know what happened. And as time goes on, you begin to understand how reality doesn't match that.
The case appears to be cold and on the fast track to frozen. The new DA, Anthony Gallooni, remembers the case. He was a young boy growing up in the area when the news first broke of Lisa's abduction and murder.
I was in my adolescence at the time. It's something that resonated and stuck with you and in some ways haunted the town of Agawam and the people who experienced it. This case means the world to a lot of people who developed a commitment to Lisa and developed a commitment to Lisa's family to tell them that we had the person who's responsible for their dear daughter's death.
Then just months into his administration, DA Gallooni gets wind of cutting-edge technology known as phenotyping. It's a process that takes a DNA sample and turns it into a digital composite sketch.
Today, I am releasing the snapshot composite sketches as developed by Parabon to the public. This forensic testing has predicted that Lisa's assailant has fair to very fair complexion with some freckling, hazel or brown eyes, and brown or black hair.
The Ziegert family is front and center for the unveiling.
We're so hopeful that this is going to bring for Lisa the justice that she so richly deserves.
I thought this is our chance. This is our biggest chance in probably 20 years to find the person who had killed her.
And when they look at the sketch of the man who apparently took Lisa's life,
it was very difficult when I first saw it, trying to think, do I know that person? Did I go to high school with them? Were we friends?
So cops have the killer's DNA and a composite of his face. Now they just need a name.
What's the face of a killer? It's hard to say, but his face is one.
We ended up looking back at persons who had been identified for one reason or another, and then sort of cross-referencing that with people who had refused to give their DNA voluntarily.
Then prosecutors make an unprecedented move.
We went through a legal process that was devised by our team, led by myself and Captain Chris Wilcox. And through that legal process, we were attempting to compel a certain identified small list of individuals to provide their DNA.
Massachusetts State Police visit a handful of homes serving search warrants to collect DNA samples. One person on the list has been on their radar since the investigation began, but refused to give his DNA at the time. And when troopers knock on his door, the man is not home, but his roommate passes on the information.
With essentially a message that state troopers are looking for you.
Coming up,
we felt this was our guy.
Hand wrote a series of notes that amounted to his confession.
Finally, a colossal crack in the case.
It was 25 years of wonder and worry and anxiety and hope all coming to a head.
But now their number one suspect is on the run.
It was all hands on deck to get his location.
The loss of a child is something no parent should ever have to endure, and adding to the pain was the fact that the Ziegert family wasn't sure they were walking past the unknown killer of their daughter every day. Well, now, after years of wondering, police were about to make a surprising arrest. Massachusetts schoolteacher Lisa Ziegert has been abducted and killed. For 25 years, investigators tracked down every lead and even used the latest technology to create a composite sketch of her killer. The composite narrows down their suspects, but when troopers attempt to collect DNA from their remaining persons of interest, One man appears to skip town.
And at that point, put him on our radar much more significantly.
Then the very next day, Massachusetts state troopers get a surprise visit.
Someone walked into a state police barracks and provided us with some information that was very compelling.
It's potentially explosive evidence in the form of letters. And the writer? None other than the man who is currently MIA.
I read the letters, and at that moment, I called the district attorney, Anthony Gallooni, and we thought this might be our guy.
He purportedly hand wrote a series of notes that amounted to his confession and responsibility for the killing of Lisa Ziegert.
If true, police have a confessed killer on the loose, and they have no idea what else this seemingly desperate and dangerous man is capable of doing. Right away, cops issue an arrest warrant for their suspect and alert surrounding law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout. They also give a heads up to the Ziegert family that an arrest could be imminent.
The police really wanted to share with us, but they had to be very careful with what they shared. What we knew was this is the best lead we've had since the beginning of the investigation, and we're sorry we can't tell you more.
Hours later, the fugitive is spotted outside of Massachusetts, and police close in.
He was tracked down to Connecticut, where he had made some efforts to commit suicide.
The man is treated for a failed overdose attempt and arrested, awaiting extradition back to Massachusetts. Meanwhile, investigators get a search warrant and collect the suspect's DNA from items found at his home. The sample is sent out for comparison against the DNA of Lisa Ziegert's killer, and after years of waiting, it's just a matter of hours before the lab results come back.
I remember that moment very distinctly, and it was a very short email. I can remember seeing the word match underlined.
The next morning, the Ziegerts get a knock on their door, one for which they've been waiting a quarter of a century.
And it was the DA, the chief of police, oh my God, head of the detective bureau, and they sat us down and said, we got him. We got him. And it was like a cold wash going over you, and then a flush, and then a, really? Are you sure? Because over 25 and a half years, we've had lots of looking good.
Investigators explain they have a written confession and DNA match.
My immediate thought to myself was, wow, this is finally it.
It was literally unbelievable in that after that amount of time, you know, statistically, it was virtually impossible that this was ever going to happen. And then it did.
But exactly who is Lisa's alleged killer? The DA calls an urgent news conference to reveal once and for all the man's identity.
Today, I am informing the public that the search for Lisa's assailant is over. Last Friday, September 15th, an arrest warrant was issued from the Westfield District Court for Gary E. Shara, age 48, of West Springfield, Massachusetts, which charges him with the murder, aggravated rape, and kidnapping of Lisa Ziegert on April 15th, 1992.
It was probably one of the strangest moments I've had in my life. Looking at the face, a picture of the person who had done this to our Lisa.
After 25 years, being able to have a name and have a face to put with the anger that I had about my sister's killer, I was feeling like at least I had a focus now.
And it turns out the local residents' worst fears were realized.
He's been among us. He's been in the community.
The suspect grew up in the neighboring town of Longmeadow, only 5 miles from Lisa's hometown of Agawam.
He had been married and went through a divorce around the time or just before the murder. He has one child. That child is now adult.
And according to recent news reports, Gary's ex-wife, Joyce McDonald, told relatives at the time of Lisa's death that she thought her husband was involved. Sadly, no one took her seriously because she was battling alcoholism. And what about a likeness to the earlier composite?
I wasn't ready to see his twin, and I didn't. For me, it was more important with the picture to eliminate people as opposed to identify people.
But do they recognize the man who allegedly murdered Lisa?
I had never heard the name Gary Shara before the news conference. I had never heard of this person.
Lisa's friend Ed Borgatti, who lived the past 2.5 decades under a cloud of suspicion, is also present at the press conference.
It's a feeling of incredible relief. A friend of mine summed it up perfect, and he said for 25 years, he said, you woke up 70% Ed Borgatti, and he said, and today you're 100%. And I appreciated that, and that summed it up.
Ed Borgatti is owed an apology by every person who slandered him and had a mean and horrible comment to say about him.
While the news conference is underway, Massachusetts State Police troopers pick up the suspect from Connecticut and begin extradition back to Massachusetts. And as they make their way across Route 5 South End Bridge connecting the two states,
there was a line of traffic and there was bumper to bumper, and people in the community knew that we had him and we were bringing him back. As we're going through that traffic, people were literally putting their hands out the windows of the cars, fist bumping that, and so it felt good. That part of it felt very rewarding to all the troopers and the local officers that were involved in this.
There's a bit of excitement and joy about the prospect of this being something real, but there was a lot of caution too, because there were some false alarms in the past over many, many years.
the news media gets wind of an arrest, and cameras are recording as a police escort arrives outside the Agawam police headquarters. It'll be the first time the community will get a glimpse of the man who terrorized their small town all those years ago. Then, the moment everyone has been waiting for.
Gary Shara.
Gary Shara enters the court to be charged with Lisa's murder.
On April 15, 1992, in the town of Agawam, you did commit murder, aggravated rape, and kidnapping.
The Ziegert family is in court as he enters a plea of not guilty. It is the first time they have seen the man who stands accused of killing their Lisa.
I'm bordering between that angry and that that feeling that you're numb and you don't have any feeling.
But for the Ziegerts, this trial is not about the man who allegedly murdered their daughter. It's about justice for Lisa.
Your life will never be the same, but bringing the person to justice, at least that's something you can do for them.
Joining me here in New York now is the producer of the story you just watched, Karen Dabrowski. Karen, thanks very much for being here. We've covered a lot of crime stories together, but this one, knowing the victim, investigating the story, that has to be difficult.
It is. Thanks for having me here too, Chris. It was difficult because I actually went to school with Lisa. I graduated a year before her, and it was really hard not to have it affect your life. I remember the day my mom called to tell me she was missing, and then days later that she had been found. And for the past 25 years, it's kind of haunted all of us, and it's really sad. It's tragic.
What kind of an impact did this have on the small town in Massachusetts called Agawam?
I think for Agawam, where this type of thing doesn't happen, it was very hard. I think in the beginning people were afraid. Was this a serial killer that came into town? Was this somebody that she knew that was still living amongst us? And I think for years to come, people just wanted answers. They just wanted to know what happened.
You were recently in your hometown for your high school reunion. I assume this was the talk of the reunion.
Everybody was talking about it, Chris. I think everyone wanted to know why this happened. I think now that they had a name and knew that the killer was behind bars, I think at this point everyone wants to know why it happened. Did he know Lisa?
Shara lived within miles of the victim's family for years.
I think that's what makes people so angry, and I think he watched as the family kept looking for her killer. He watched the vigils happen, the fundraisers, and then he watched Ed Borgatti go through this cloud of suspicion that he actually did this. That's evil. That's really messed up, and it angers a lot of people.
Karen, thanks for your great reporting on this case. I know you'll continue to follow the story as Shara heads to court. And of course, we'll bring you the very latest right here on Crime Watch Daily.